My answer to the first question is yes, I would support the landlord registry. As a citizen, I have been in circumstances like you mentioned, mice in the walls. I've rented from slumlords, and what I did was went to the city, got the inspectors out. Excuse me. I also did this for neighbors in my building and people in the Gifford Park neighborhood who had had problems with slumlords. So that's something that's been very key to my campaign. Another thing when it comes to keeping the properties from going derelict, we currently spend millions on luxury apartments, specifically in my district in Midtown, and I'm very much against that. I feel some of that money can be put back into properties, specifically rental properties, to keep them up to code, and we can do things to stop landlords from running out of compliance, and I think there should be stricter fines and penalties at the city level for that. And absolutely yes, I support separate trash pickups for a lot of the same reasons you've heard. It does create environmental problems when we commingle our trash. Beyond that, I think when it comes to the contract, ultimately what I would prefer have it be is trash pickup be a division of the city, have it be a public department. Trash pickup is a public utility, and right now currently leaving these contracts up for private bids, we don't get the best service. So I think beyond just renewing the contract or renegotiating the contract, we need to look at what does it take to make trash pickup be a public utility.
Mr. Cunningham, could you clarify for us, did you stand in support of PACE or did you stay seated?
I did not, for the same reasons that were mentioned earlier. I think it's a good way that it's been brought up for commercial properties, but for residential properties, I don't feel this is the best way to bring about cheap and affordable alternative forms of energy. Particularly with the startup costs, it would be incredibly prohibitive to lower income people. So this is a project that we would see geared towards middle and higher income earners. That's great, but what do we do about all the low income properties that maybe are owned by a landlord that isn't somebody that's going to put that type of investment? So I think that there's more that can be done. I've very much been a proponent of environmental issues for many years. I've been against the Keystone Pipeline. I was at Standing Rock as a security guard. So my issue with this bill, I agree with the essence of what it's trying to accomplish. I don't agree with the method of how it's being implemented. I think it can be looked at being done a number of other different ways. In regards to the immigration issue, I was incarcerated recently, and it was in a federal facility, and about half of the inmates in there were detainees, and they were working men that had had careers, had been here many decades, from rural Nebraska, that were arrested for other crimes and were waiting to be detained. So I got to talk with a lot of these people in my time there, and I've also worked with many women in the community who have been victims of the crimes you mentioned, being the victims of sexual abuse, being taken advantage of by landlords, by the police. So that's a huge thing I support with the police department doing. And to get to the three main issues I want to make in my campaign, for many years, since 2011, I have worked on issues of police oversight and accountability. I wrote the first budget and proposal for the on-body camera program, which we currently have. In 3 years, OPD will be one of the first major cities with 100% body camera coverage, and that was a direct result of the work I did with the people in the community that were affected by these issues, going to the people in power, offering them a solution, and making a change. The other issue I've made very heavy in my campaign is the issue of tax increment financing. Currently in my district, I live in Midtown, there's a huge glut of tax increment finance properties. Since 2000, we spent $350 million subsidizing mostly luxury apartments. I have a huge problem with that. I lived across the street from Midtown Crossing for many years. I had a slumlord. Our rent went up, but our services never increased. So while there's a big plan from the city to push to gentrify a lot of our neighborhoods, that doesn't solve all the economic problems. Another thing that was mentioned with regards to recycling, we don't have a glass recycling center, so that's something else I would bring as a councilman. So next Tuesday, I'm asking for your vote if you are in District 3. Deshaun Cunningham, thank you.